Must have been an OBS issue.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
that's wrong. All right. Good. Good.
Yeah, that's terrific.
I got something new. I gotta let the community know. So,
Got a new shiny thing.
Well, kind of as a partner or something I got that I kind of overlooked.
Okay.
And I get 5 more. Hey, Patrick.
Hello.
Hey, Phantom. All right, so whenever you guys cheer now, hold on. You want to type, instead of just cheer, you want to type this, because it's a partner thing. You want to type Lord Go Cheer, then the monetary amount. All right? Because I have 5, and it's based on money. I have 5 animated emotes attached to them now. So I actually have 5 more now. They're kind of just all fun ones. So it's Lord Go Cheer instead of just cheer. Let's see if it works. Take a while for people to get used to it. So, good to see you as people are rolling in here. We're waiting for Joe Bloch, of course, but I had to come on a little early because there was a post on Twitter from Twitch saying that a lot of streamers could not log on, and they had fixed it, but it appeared to be. Now you got to tighten it all. You got to put the 100 right after the cheer. Remember, put Lord Go Cheer 100 all together, Phantom. Cool, Patrick. Yeah, you don't separate. There you go. There. See, that works.
Cool.
You got a little. There you go. Yeah. What's up, Skarshack? So, Skarshack got his module stuff I sent to Canada, and they were slightly damaged. Just salty for one. Let's see. Yep, it's working. There's a 1, a 100, a 1,000, a 5,000, and a 10,000. So awesome, Greg. Good to hear it. That's always a good thing to see. Mr. Joel, good to see you. I may mix those up too. Those new loot emotes, loot cheer emotes they call them. They're only available to partners. So I had to take advantage of it. Now they figured out how to do it. Tomorrow is Infinite Dimensions giveaway, by the way. Just looking up for Joe. So tomorrow night, giving away STLs for the Butchery and the Fur Trader, which are both pretty cool. Yeah, the border crossings, it's always a killer. Hey, Worm's Blood. It's a shame, but it just is. Tonight is the Pomarj with Joe Bloch. The Pomarj. Plus, we got our special guest set for the next All-Star game, Anna.
Cool.
Yes. And that, we'll talk about that.
That sounds great.
Yep. Because it can't, the 10th is quick. That's a real quick turnaround time for you know, having a in desert. Oh, the giveaway? No, giveaway a couple. There you go. And dessert. What's on the menu tonight? Oh, it's some classic reprints tonight, man. I got a full stack of stuff. Like Saltmarsh, The Silver Key, Puppets, haha, Durgam's Folly, Veiled Society, Beyond the Crystal Cave. Yeah. Yep. Here comes Joe.
Okay.
Mr. Joel, thank you. Oh my gosh, we almost got a hype train already. Hey, Joe.
Hello. Hey.
Look at the curtains in the background, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Good to see you again. Oh yeah. Oh, that's the drape or the yeah, Darlene.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Here comes Mike Disney in, Raiden in. That's Mike. Good to see you, Mike. Let me get out of Preludes in a second here.
Can somebody shoot me the chat link?
Yeah, Anna, could you do that for Twitch?
Yep. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think I VIP'd you last time you were on too. See. Portrait Works just went live with 1.0, by the way, just today. Hey, Taryn, Mike, give me a second to go through these ads here, and I'll get you guys. Thank you so very much for the raid in, Mike. That was really awesome.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded the new app yet, but I need to do it. I just saw the email like.
Yeah, literally, what, 10, 20 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So same here. I'll do that tonight after the show tonight.
Yeah, I didn't want to fiddle with it now and get stuck.
Yeah. Same here. Cool, man. All around, I saw you in a game. Whose game did you sign up for that I saw you in on? Someone. I know I saw you in a game with someone for Virtual GreyHawk. That's it. You're in with Chuck. You're either with Chuck or Steven Chenault. That's it. That's it. I saw you in with either Chuck or Steven Chenault's game. So it's Chuck's game. It's Chuck's game on Saturday.
Troll Lord Games.
Because we're looking through today. So. Oops. A second. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Yeah, Chuck's running Saturday, and Steven's got his for the Friday game. There you go, Vamp. I spelled my name wrong first, Vamp, on the first one. My last name. So, and Anna, we may have Troll Lord joining us on Gavin on Sunday night. We may have one or both. Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be very, very good considering the topic. Yeah.
Gonna come on a little early. No one's worried about that, right? entry screen.
Nice.
Alrighty. Well, Fuzz, thanks. So, Mr. Joel, whenever you cheer on my channel now, you want to type not just cheer in the number smash together, you want to type Lord Go cheer and then the amount. Because then you'll get at least one. You'll get one of 5 animated emotes in. It's a partner only deal. So, you know, I just set it up about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So, finally figured out how to do it. So, you get those little bouncing around. So far, we have the salty and the loot. So, and Uncle Fuzz, thanks a lot. Tonight, some Pomarj discussion. Now, on Gavin, we did Wild Coast and we did Narwhal and some stuff on Sunday night, but this will be... try and keep this to published source a little bit, but we'll maybe go a little beyond it here and there. So... yeah, no problem, Mr. Joel. I appreciate it, but now you don't have... you can still do the cheer. But if you want to get like an emote like that loot one, that's the 100 one. When you do it, you can just type Lord Go cheer, all one word. It's a partner thing. It's all good. I appreciate it. So look at that. We're coming in early. You know what? Oh my gosh! Give me 10 seconds. I forgot to click on my lives, Anna. Oh, you know, I got them all preset into certain channels, and I forgot. Click live. There we go. Too much to do. And the title was correct, fortunately. Put it all together, Ace. Smash it all together, just like you would cheer 100. You gotta put there's no space at all. No space. And you got it. So, awesome. All right, we're here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all. As we start another week, 4 streams again this week. We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday this week. I don't think that Saturday game's going to come together with the adolescents playing a special game. So no 5 and 5 nights, but that's okay.
I have no idea how you managed to do that.
With a real job and a 12-year-old and a wife.
I have it's all I can do to do 1.5 videos a week. And mine are like 10 minutes long.
You know, Joe, it's just it's like I'm a machine now, right, Anna? I just I'm used to it at this point. So, you know, it's just. But thank you for that compliment. So we got a special guest tonight, Greyhawk Grogner himself, Joe Bloch, who we're going to talk about his great article that is in Dragon. I think it's 167. It's up there right now as we speak, and then Anna B. Meyer as well. So with a fun week coming up here. Once again, we always look for topics that you know, when Mike's not around, and so we came up with this one. Now we did a Pomarj with Joe and a Gavin, but that was almost 2 years ago. It was like I looked at it, it was like number 65 or something, and we're like, yeah, it was like multiple years ago. So, but I love this area of the map. I you know, this is my wheelhouse. Joe, when you adventure, where's your wheelhouse in Greyhawk?
It's really right around the city.
Okay, cool.
You got from the city to the Cron Hills to, you know, the Aberals, the Wild Coast, that whole area. Although I've done stuff in the, you know, the Iron League and up in the Perrinland and stuff like that. You know, so I try to go all, but my go-to is right in the center of the map.
So do you use the Free City Greyhawk box set from the Ashes a lot because of all the reference material in those, or you know, is it a mix? Or
when I'm doing a campaign, I usually start my campaigns in 577. So
okay. Free City Greyhawk, then maybe.
But when I do my articles, like my Armies of Greyhawk that I'm doing now, I've got From the Ashes open. I've got all the you know, the Greyhawk Wars Adventurers Guidebook, whatever that's called.
there's so much stuff, you know, and it's all over the place. It's disjointed, and that's why I like to try and you know, just like we did on Sunday with the Wild Coast, we try and combine a lot of it together into this discussion. Now, a lot of the stuff that we talked about, books we talked about on Sunday, are going to be used right here. You know,
yeah, they're kind of. We were even discussing where the border is. They're kind of.
Look at that, Joe's all ready to go. Woohoo!
Yep,
Yes.
there you go.
Excellent, excellent.
Yep.
Very, very cool. So this area, and I don't count Principality Ulick because I'm sorry, I apologize to all you living Greyhawk people there. What a freaking mess that was on the during the Principality Ulick and the living Greyhawk era. I'm like, what the heck is, you know? And I was like, you know, but we'll talk a little bit about like what the possibilities of what actually happened in the living Greyhawk happening there, because we want to talk about all the publications and all the references and all the sources and all the cool stuff you may not know about that Joe has done, and that Anna has incorporated off from Joe's ideas, all the tribes and everything. We'll talk about that.
I've developed the heraldry and tweaked it and stuff. Yeah.
Hey, Mike. Yep,
but
the
that
Pomarj.
Is thanks to all the cool input from this Dragon article and more. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's some wonderful points here. And I've always, you know, like I said, I love this area. I'm going to tackle question number 1 that got thrown out, and I think it got thrown out on, I want to say on a Facebook post after I did it, and that is the following. Who was here first? Like, was it Solaridian? Was it Flan? Was it back? Yeah, it probably wasn't Backlunish, but who lived in the Pomarj early on? And I think I found a reference that describes it. Joe?
It's got to be the Flan. I mean, they're the one who put Crovis there, right?
Okay, all right. That's yeah. And so, where did you get your reference from?
I didn't. I made that up. That's completely my.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And in their Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, they went with it. So yeah.
That's they a lot of the stuff in that article got incorporated into official stuff over the years.
Yep.
I have the published source where it comes from, I think. So for once, I'm gonna break out something beyond the sorry, Joe, for the pun, grognards here.
Well, in the original folio, they did say in the description of the Drakenscribe Hills that there's a legend about a sleeper.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And then years after I wrote the article, I found out later that was supposed to be a reference to the Pit Fiend adventure.
Being what?
It was a Pit Fiend.
Oh,
okay.
Gary's original.
So it wasn't the Dirt Dragon and it wasn't Crovis.
Right.
I have the reference point. Here we go. I know Gary's not on yet. He's normally not. He'll have to catch up. No, here we go. Hit the wrong button, Jay. Where in this? I think this is where. All right. So we're going to go to page 95 under Geography of Earth. The Twisted Forest. Okay. If you don't know about this Twisted Forest story, it's really good. It's in here. I'm not sure who wrote this. And here's the shame, Joe. We asked Jim who did what on this, and he's like, I don't know, because it was in 3 months. Everyone's bringing stuff in. We can't figure out. Not a tidbit. It's a beautiful book. Not a tidbit of who did what where in this book. It's lost to the odes of time, where Eric Boyd can tell us who did a paragraph or a sentence in each of those books, like those deity books. We just don't know. We just don't know who wrote this. So the Drakenscribe's always been a peculiar land and anomaly along the more settled regions of Flannis. Legends persist that some powerful being sleeps there. There you go. And that some unclean air is about certain of the hills. So, and then we have this Twisted Forest. So when we come down here, here is the paragraph, I think, in reference, it's going to give us information. The Twisted Forest would be entirely mysterious were it not for the records of the Kirish court and the Old Draw. An ancient and much reoccupied manuscript that reports to be a history of Sul peoples immediately after the last disaster of the Sul Empire, penned by one Uhas of Nelli. In this history is a tale of a particularly wicked band of Sulwys who fled with all their treasures eastward along the northern coast of the Azure Sea, seeking a new land. They were, and it says, they were as learned and powerful as they were cruel, and met with successes in all their evil ventures, until at last they slaughtered a band of innocent Flan tribesmen in a particularly vile manner on the Sunhill Hills. All right, so that's right here. So the Sunhill Hills must be the low ground of the Drakensgrabs, is what I'm guessing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the original
All
name.
right, so there you go. There's your reference. Flan or occupying this during that time. So it's Flan occupied until the Invoked Devastation comes out.
If you look in the appendix to Slavers, they give a little timeline.
Okay.
And it says circa minus 1,000 is Flane tribes live in the Pomarj, and then in negative 400 Iridian and Sulois arrive.
Okay. There you go. There's another good reference there too.
Yeah.
So we got two references then from this. So Flan tribe slaughtered Sul. So my guess is if this is in the Neo-Dra Kriya's court, this means that during the Hateful Wars, it's a Sul-Iridian mix, just like Keeland. Does that make sense? At that point, it's not all Sul here, do you think? During the Hateful Wars era, why would the Keelish court have it if it wasn't a Sul-Iridian mix like Keeland? So thank you, Blue Box, and thank you, Rob, for a cool show discussion on healers. We're just getting started here, and we're talking a little bit about the Pomarj here, and just going on some information on where who occupied the Pomarj until modern times, human-wise. So thoughts, Joe, on that?
Well, I just took a second to look at the gold box, and it says Sul-Iridian mix.
There you go. Okay.
Is the human population as of 576. So
thank you very much for that raid in there, guys. Really, I know John will be back, and if you don't know, everyone, John will be on Gabbin Sunday night with myself and Anna, and probably some Troller Games people as we discuss homebrewing in a published setting, and that's Sunday night at 7:00 when John comes back. So yeah, someone asked this question and I wanted to answer it. So I dug in a little bit and found this in the Twisted Forest, and we can go into depth a little bit more about what it is upcoming, one of the cool areas of it. But yeah, this is once again, we do not know who the author is of this by Jim Ward, because Jim doesn't know himself, unfortunately. I'd love to find, can we one day, that'd be a good idea, Anna, the mysteries. Like, so down here it goes, Skip Williams is in here. I don't know any of these. Daniel Salas, Nigel Finley, Thomas Kane, Stephen Ennis, Len Carpenter, Eric Oppen. Joe, you know any of them?
Nigel Finley, but
that's the only one. Okay. Editing, Zan Brown. Steve Winters editing. Okay. So special development work, John Pickens. All right. It could be lost to time. So, let's get this. We got our standard giveaway tonight as well. See, Joe, I'm not on the ball. I always forget stuff here. You get your choice of 2 books from really cool reprints. Let me get this going here 1 second. As welcome in. Thank you for the raids in Mike Disney, and thank you for the raid in Blue Box. And there we go. Here's my pile. If you don't have this, you should definitely get Greyhawk: The Adventure Begins. It's a great book. If you already have it, I'll get your choice of 2, if not 1. Saltmarsh, yes, it's an awesome book. Saltmarsh, Silver Key, Puppets, why not? Siege of Durgam's Folly by Mike Merles, that's a good 3rd edition one. Veiled Society, another great basic one. And Beyond the Crystal Cave, another cool adventure. All right. So that's your choices for tonight in our Pomarj discussion. So, Anna, what are your thoughts early on? Flan, and then raided in by the Sul, and then they mixed with Viridians, it appears.
Well, yeah, it's kind of natural. It's geographically very close to where they came in. So it's kind of part of, and it was fairly accessible from the west. That's where they can come from. So I can understand why Sul and some Viridian got there early, really early.
Yeah. Aren't they tempting Dark Elf? Sorry. They're tempting. Yeah. I love sleuthing a little bit, and so So Joe, your crow, and a lot of you, since the last time you were on for this discussion a year and a half, 2 years ago, there's probably 90% of the people in the audience were not around then, so they know nothing about Crovis. So this is gonna be good. So you thought Flan all along,
Right.
okay?
And I have no idea why. It's just what I did. But I read that one off note about in the Dragon's Crab Hills about there's a sleeper, a legend of a sleeper, and I got to thinking about it, and I just invented it because they had just come out with the idea of quasi deities, and I loved the idea of quasi deities.
Oh, so it's awesome.
I wanted one, and so I made him the racial hero of the Flan race, and his job is to prevent anyone else from conquering the Flaness. So he'll go out if somebody's threatening to conquer the entire continent. He will go out, raise an army, defeat them, and then go back into his tomb.
See, that is so cool. So, and a lot of you are like, "What the heck is Joe talking about?" Well, now you're going to find another really cool quasi deity that you can throw right into your campaign. It does addition notwithstanding, and that's a really cool thing. So, Crovis, yes, Mike, Crovis, and it's published source. It is published source. It's published in a Dragon Magazine article, which is really cool by Joe. So the Hateful Wars come, and let me get up Anna's map and let's talk about this. Go back a little bit in history on what happens in this area of the Pomarj. It is a synopsis in the original glossography, which is really cool, and it's a good story, but it once again is what 2-3 paragraphs at most in the original discussion. What do you think, Anna? In the original glossary, 2-3 paragraphs most about what happens.
Yeah, it's meaning in the early one there were only a few paragraphs of anything. There was hardly anything that was more than 5 paragraphs. So they were all short little entries. It's only when we get to later publications that we get the depth.
Yeah. That's it on the Pomarj, but we're talking in the history area, Joe. It talks about them, the Hateful Wars. Yeah. So let's go back. Give me a time. What's the time frame for Hateful Wars in that publication book you had in your hand?
It's not too long ago. It's
490 to 510 or 430, or what was it? I read it this morning, so it's not too long ago in your article, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, it was over by 513 because that's when the humanoids conquered the Pomarj.
Right. So we're looking. So we're going. So if you go to a standard, Elfkin TV, Joe, big fan of your YouTube channel. I've learned a lot from your content. Much obliged, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Nice compliment there. So this area of the Pomarj, and this is a setup for campaigning. You got the Temple of Montalil up here in Hamlet, and then you have this whole area, the Ulix, Selene, Valuna, all allied together. And a lot of my campaign is based on what happens in here. You got the Lord Mill Mountains. You have the low road that's briefly mentioned that Rich Longitalos and David Leonard developed through here. And Mike, you're on now. Mike Disney, your character's been investigating the low road, which is left over from when the dwarves had almost like a Moria kingdom years and years ago. Here's Wolfmaster Keep. And here's the Abet, which connects to your low road, connected to Hearthguard Tower. Which is, I appreciate them putting a connection to one of my actual places, which is really neat. And this is the main area of where the fleeing came from the Hateful Wars, when the ones that fled southeast through the Sus. A lot, let's say 75% got slaughtered. They went 4 directions, and 3 of the 4 directions were wrong. Right. Mm-hmm. And this direction was the best one by far. So when you end up in 513, when the Hateful Wars end, the humanoids get thrown out of the Lord Mills. Most of them flee through the Sus to here the Pomarj. Finding the lords there weak and disorganized, I think it says in the book. Is that what?
Because they had recently thrown off the rule of the Prince of Ulick.
Yes. And I can understand why, because he was
so they had basically gotten rid of their overlord, making them ripe for conquest.
Yes. So the Prince of Ulick, Another reason why I have him bitter in my campaign is because he just doesn't like people, especially humans, pushing, telling him what to do. Because basically, this whole area was occupied, was territory, was like a tributary of the principality. It wasn't part of the principality; it was a tributary to the principality. Correct? It's like Starich was to Keeland.
Yeah. It was. Well, originally, I think it was actually part because it was part of Kaoland.
Yeah,
Right.
during
And
the
then-
expansion, they
Right, and then Ulick left Kaoland, and then a few years later, the Pomarj left the Principality of Ulick.
Right. Okay. And that was pre Hateful Wars. That this
that was
happened.
early 300s, I think, or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for a while, the Pomarj was independent and disorganized, and when the humanoids came in, they just, as shown. Now we'll talk about this. These areas here are mostly Joe's tribes, correct, Anna?
Yes.
On the map.
You should not ask me. You should ask Joe because
you placed them.
I just placed them on the map. I placed them on the map. Yes, they
Okay.
are. Yeah, I got a few extra little things from Paul Luby. He sent me some stuff that was supposed to be in another article that never saw print. So he gave me some other stuff too. Yeah, and those were snippets. So I added that in and kind of mushed it together a little bit. So that might be some other stuff there. So that might be my fault, so to speak. So don't blame any old negatives on Joe in this case. Yep.
Okay.
No, please feel free to blame me because I wrote this article 32 years ago. All I see now are the flaws.
That's all when we see it afterwards, we always see the things that we need to change.
Seriously,
so
Joe, that's absolutely perfectly fine with this one.
Yeah.
So, and the area gets taken over very quickly by the humanoids, and to think about for them to, and how many there are now, but they do reproduce quickly.
Yep.
That just says how many that were killed in Lord Bells when you think about it, and how overwhelmed the Lord Mill mountains were back in that day. I mean, it's just crazy when you think about it. If that many got away a quarter, went through the Sus and took over all the Pomarj, that says something about how many actually were killed during the end of the Hateful Wars, which is neat. And if you've never read the actual articles and the stories of the Hateful Wars, let me link this. Go to Tommy John Kelly's Greyhawk stories, and you'll get some really cool stuff there. There's a link to the Hateful Wars and to his Knights of the Heart discussion. Very, very cool stuff. And I like to.
Jay, it's funny you should mention that your campaign is around like the Ulick states and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been doing a series of articles on my blog about the armies of Greyhawk, and just yesterday, the one that has all 3 Ulick states and Kaoland dropped.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
so all the armed forces of the nations are.
Was that a YouTube post? A YouTube?
No, it's on the blog.
Oh, it's on the blog. Okay, Joe, please feel free
to
link your blog in there. Link the YouTube, please. Link as much as you want into chat, please.
It's like getting you cool old school Dragon articles again, like once a month or once every 2 weeks. It's awesome.
That's fantastic to get that. And what's the date? The date that your armies are
577, 578.
Okay, so pre-wars. Good. Pre-Greyhawk Wars. Post Hateful Wars, but pre-Greyhawk Wars. That's good. Old school. Very, very old school. So one more time, if you do cheer at all from now on, you want to type Lord Go cheer and then the amount altogether. You can still type tier the amount, but Lord Go cheer will get you 5 animated emotes that I have now as a partner added in. So I actually have 5 more, which is kind of cool. And I'll put some fun ones in there just so everyone's aware of that. Because it's going to be a getting used to change. All right, so the Pomarj gets overtaken in 513. There's no detail at all. So we don't know anything about battles. We know nothing about forts. We know nothing about what fell. We don't, do we know anything about what Suderham is? The original Suderham?
Yeah, it was built by the dwarfs on the Chaoish order to be a kind of a protector of the mines, so to have a force there. I think I read that in the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer.
Oh, cool.
So they kind of added details, yes. And then that's when Turismak took over after, long after he took that place and used it as his base.
Yeah, they're only linked to cheers, Mike. You can't use them as a. You have to do it. Like if you do a cheer for 1, you'll get the salty emote. So if you do, but you got to type Lord Go cheer and then 1. You know, just like you would, but you don't type just cheer 1 now. So that's just one of those partner things I'm figuring out. So okay, so Suderham was probably destroyed before that. Is that true, Joe? Do you think it was destroyed before the wars when they came, or was it?
No. That was part of it. It was there when the humanoids came in.
Okay, so
yeah, it was built by the Kioish in the 300s. Yeah.
Right. Human or dwarven?
Kioish orders built by dwarfs, according to Living Greyhawk guest here. They fleshed out some details, but it was built in the 300s on order of, because the dwarfs were serving the Kioish rulers back then. So yeah.
Human rule at the time, no dwarven rule then. It was built by dwarves, but it was run by humans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because the Ulics were part of the Kioish Empire. So yeah.
There has to be other unknown destroyed fortresses, don't you think, that aren't?
Well, I'm sure that
I assume that it's littered with them.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have one that we know of because it's named, and in the Gord story, Strandkeep Castle.
Yes, we do.
It's probably hailing from that time too. And there's probably a lot of local little barons and all sorts of other stuff that we have forgotten history or never mentioned in published products, but you can kind of invent them as part of your campaign history, so to speak, and take a ruined castle that has been taken over by humanoids and now used and was home to family so-and-so or lord so-and-so X amount of years.
And all those old dwarven mines and yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So Strandkeep Castle, I've used multiple times. I have the ruins. I use the same ruins as Wolfmaster Castle there, Mike. Sorry, because it's so large and it's it's stories you can actually read about in the second Gord book, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's in the beginning of the second Gord book. Gord and his party, Geller and the others, they are storming Strandkeep Castle, which is held by someone we don't exactly know who's, but the Scarlet Brotherhood are there to, either they are the main force or they are just there to prop it up. But what they do is that they dig under it and go up the under. So they dig under the castle and then blast their way in and attack from under.
Which is where I get my idea that the reason dungeons exist is to keep people from being able to dig under walls of castles.
Well, you dig first, so you're ready and down there already, kind of thing. Yeah, but
once you dig under and you go in, and all of a sudden you're in this maze full of traps and monsters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and but in the book they specifically say they tricked the people in the castle to put all the monsters out on the battlefield, and that was the signal for the dwarves and the gnomes to go in. So the reason you build dungeons under castles is so people can't undermine and dig under and pop up in the middle of the castle. That's why there's traps and mazes and stuff. I love that.
Well, unless you have
to remember
a 9th level mage with Passwell.
Yeah, and we have to remember in the real world they built things under because some things they didn't want to escape. It was a way of keeping prisoners in holes. That was one reason. Another main reason was that they kept cool, so they were used as larders and food storage areas too. So that was another incentive back in the real world to make the rooms under the castle. And I guess a third one is a little bit the same as we see in warfare today. It's a well protected. It doesn't matter what siege engines or whatever you use. It's a protective area, so to speak. So you can kind of you keep your riches because you can kind of hide them away and stuff. So I think those are in the real world the 3 main reasons that you build dungeons, and they could also be used in a fantasy. But I like that idea of adding monsters and stuff in as a kind of a protective barrier, because in the fantasy world you can dig better than, it's more like you could in like World War I or something.
Exactly.
You have magical help.
Yeah.
So that will be a replacement of technology, which means that in a fantasy world you can undermine castles more than you could in real medieval times. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's and we won't go down the rabbit hole of, and Tim makes this argument all the time, that he says castles are defunct with spellcasters. And I don't want to go
No,
there.
not necessarily, because
Yeah,
spellcasting can function defensively as well as
Absolutely.
offensively.
Guards
You
and
just have
Wards
to
is such a devastating spell if you've ever seen
exactly.
that
You
spell.
just have to invent magic users on the defensive side, and the rules emphasize offensive magic. You just have to invent defensive magic as well, and there they counter each other. So I don't see. I see dragons and flying creatures like that more of a threat to castles than wizards and clerics, actually.
So Elfgren asked a question I'm trying to answer. Can you explain all the Dwarven kingdoms coexist with primarily human nation states? It seems to be a theme in the world of Greyhawk, but it doesn't make sense to me. There's not many. So there's two that I know of. There's Iron Gate, which is a city state, and Principality Ulick. Am I missing other ones? I mean,
well, you can tell east of Iron Gate you have the Iron Hills, and
that's
but
true.
Iron Hills and Iron Gate are I see them as connected when it comes to the Dwarven. You have that area of Dwarvendom, so to speak, and then you have this area. Those are, if I remember correctly, the main Dwarven areas that we have from the original folio and box set, and then there's been multiple others invented later, so to speak. Joe, please correct me.
No, you're right. The only non-human-led societies we have are the Ulick States, the Iron Hills, and
Sundee.
Selene.
Sundee isn't Sundee Elven?
Well, yeah, we have Elvendom in other areas up in the West.
Yeah.
Dwarves, we only
High Folk is another Elvish realm.
Yeah.
So there's not many there, Elfgren, and so you would think, if you look at this, why is the Principality Ulick when it was created? You would think that the Dwarven realm would be more up here, would be Dutch, and they have the Ulick fleet has a great navy too. Dwarven warships, which is kind of an anachronism a little bit too there, right? It's something that it doesn't.
We never heard of them before as great seamen, but they seem to, it's kind of, they have one of the big good port cities in Greyhawk, so yeah.
But a lot of that, no, Valley Mage does not count in any of that discussion. It's not an elven realm. It's a valley. It's the mage. It's a special circumstance. So
it's kind of an elven in a way. But let's talk about. We talked about that in a Gabin not too long ago. So yeah.
Absolutely. Are the Dwarves of Lortmils considered citizens of Ulick states? No, they're not. Just like the Dwarves of the Aberals are not. They have 3 states themselves. Here they are: Graysmere, Caracast. What's the third one? Dumadan. These 3. Graysmere, Caracast, Dumadan. They are small.
I don't think they were mentioned early on. They were mentioned later.
No,
I think they were in.
They're very small.
Rary the Trader, probably.
They're in. One's in the City of Greyhawk box set, and 2
one is from
the
Ashes.
2 are from the Ashes.
But I don't really count those as like realms in the same level as like Ulick or.
No, they're not countries exactly.
Yeah, they're kind of city states almost.
Yeah, they're like this. A lot of other little tiny puny realms we have dotted out here and there that are kind of
It's like its own, like Altamira is its own city state, right?
We have like Dullstrand and a whole bunch of other little places here and there that are semi or full independent, but they're not really countries.
Full countries. Principality Ulick is one, and the Iron Hills technically, and Iron Gate's a huge city. Those are the 2. So they don't get along. The humans, proven by them throwing the prince out of the Pomarj before the Hateful Wars start, right?
Right.
So the humans actually, Elfgren, you're answering your own question. They don't like the prince, and they get rid of the prince. They don't want a prince ruler here, and that's their downfall. There's no defense, and then it gets overrun in 513 by the humanoids. So that should answer your question. That and by the way, if you go through the Ulick states, Duchy Ulick High Elves, this is standard entry glossography. County of Ulick, human, gnome, halfling, summit High Elves. Principality Ulick, dwarf, some halfling, some human. That's the mix. So there's still humans scattered about all these as well.
And the halflings are like in the mountains too. They're we get details on that, I think, in Patriots of Ulick.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Patriots of Ulick covers this area here, the
Right,
Peacefield.
right.
Yeah. So, and that was an attempt at a battle system adventure. It's got its flaws.
With 40 troops on the side. Yay!
Yeah. Yeah, because it's still almost battle system was a good attempt. You had battle system and
Was that the
chainmail.
second edition battle
Second
system?
edition,
Yeah.
Patriots of Ulick is an adventure. Someone want to link it and please, and it's in Drive-Thru RPG for a reprint. I think I gave the last one out a week or two ago. All right, so good question. The Pomarj is for the last, depending on your time frame of your campaign, 60 to 70 to 100 years been run by humanoids and evil humans. When the Slavers reference comes out, you really get the evil humans because you have the Slavers base is here. You also have the Slavers from the A series base, but they're more based up here, right? They're more based Howiport South, correct? Here's the Slavers Stockade. Does A4 go to Suderham?
Oh yeah,
it does go to Suderham, yeah. But how about Kell and Lekos?
I don't think that existed.
That didn't exist, right? It's Suderham.
Yeah,
it's the ruins in Draken Keep, right? It's not Kell and Lekos.
It's because that was the volcanic city that blows up. Yeah,
that's it. Okay, yep. That's it. So let's discuss that. So
and let's not forget that in Slavers, spoiler alert, they retcon Terosh Mac to be one of the slave lords from the original series.
Theg Narlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. This is against the slave lords, which is A0 to Jimmy, and Duff's on now. Predators Rejects, everyone, part of Virtual GrowCon. We will talk about Virtual GrowCon at the end tonight. It's going really well on signups. Thank you all. All right. This is A0 through A4. All right.
Yeah, and A0 is a prequel
and
added
that's
later,
on the other side.
Yeah.
Here's by Skip Williams. That is not in the Pomarj. Okay.
No, it's on the other the side
on the other coast. Yeah.
Yep. But
Dark Shelf. But I added the place Dark Shelf. I added it on the map after it came out, so it's on the Nesser Peninsula. So yeah.
Highport, south of Highport, Slaver Stockade, right?
Right.
Into the Draken's Grabs for this one, and you get something happens, and then getting out, escaping, and fighting the slave lords in the dungeons at Suderham. They're the 4 adventures, all done by a different person. You got Schick, Alan Hammock, legends here. Harold Johnson and Moldvay, Zeb Cook. My gosh, what legends you have with those adventures together. And that creates the Scourge of the Slavers, A1 through 4, BB Fan Fun. That book is worth a pretty penny in good condition. But then you have the reprint, which adds A0 against the slave lords, and they have forwards in here too, if I recall correctly. Here, let me show you that this one's cool because of this. Yes. So you come here. Let me put this down.
Yes, it does have forwards for each of them, written by the original authors.
Yep. And this is in 2013. You got Zeb Cook's forward, Harold Johnson, talking about each Alan Hammock and Lawrence Schick, all discussing their adventures. And it's a neat thing. Is it worth finding that copy and buying it for $100? I don't know if it's worth that, but it's cool to have. It's a neat, I was happy to see that they did that in these adventures. But this is am I missing something that this is the adventure series for the Pomarj?
Well, I mean, they go back there in Slavers.
Yes.
Which is a completely different adventure, plot.
Completely. Yep.
So it does have that. But other than that, there's no adventures published that I'm aware of outside of probably Living Greyhawk that covered the Pomarj at all.
Correct.
I put a link to the PDF on Drive-Thru.
That's awesome.
To this one too. So yeah.
Thank you very much. There, I think I had an A1 to 4 Scourge, and I think I gave that away about a couple of months ago. Patrick, thank you for that reprint. Yep, you can get a reprint on it, and that's the way to go now. I mean, my suggestion: don't spend your money. Plus, I don't want to get into the politics here. With the way things are going with D&D Beyond and all, I don't think your Drive-Thru is going to have this stuff for very long. I don't know what you're thinking. It just
Yeah,
like,
we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
That's a whole nother
Mhm.
discussion. I was actually going to
Yeah.
do a video on that this week, but
that's a tough one because we are guessing, right? There's a lot of guessing there. We're not sure 100%.
I think it's 50-50 that they'll just buy them.
They'll buy drive-through?
Yeah.
Wow. That would be kind of
They'll
interesting.
either buy them or leave them in the dirt.
Okay. Oh, that would make more sense. Who knows? Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see. Get a deal on something, and you never know. The Slavers adventures are cool. I'm not sure if you've run them or not, but they're worthwhile. I know Jimmy's running them on his channel now on Praetor's Rejects. Jimmy, what are you in? You in A1 if you're there? I mean, because I know your group goes slowly because they go off on tangents a lot. So, but they're really good adventures. They are a competition. Were they run at Gen Con? Were they Gen Con competition adventures early at the beginning? So, hey Dale, are you fishing A2? Good to hear.
I don't know.
I know A1 had a point system.
Yeah, they were definitely tournament modules. I don't know where they first ran them.
Okay.
Could have been on Origins.
Yeah, but it talks in the the forwards here talks about Gen Con and Origins. So yeah, so some of them are probably Gen Con, others might have been Origins, but they were tournament adventures originally. But so were a lot of the Greyhawk modules. They were tournament modules first.
And what's interesting is that they would bounce between Origins and Gen Con.
That's true.
Like the Giants modules were all run at Gen Con, and then the sequels, the Descendant of the Earth, they were run at Origins.
Yeah.
Back in the day when they weren't, at each other's throats.
It could have been just who could get where.
Yeah, and I guess also it might be when they were ready for publication. So they ran them at the convention when they were ready to.
Michael von Mokel just said they were Gen Con. He actually played in them at Gen Con.
Oh, cool! That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Michael, I got to talk to you. You're gonna reprise your role as a champion, and you're gonna be a special. You and Mike Disney characters are gonna be special characters. You're gonna be returning champions in the joust. By the way, I saw you signed up, so just know.
Yep.
Got an idea there. So.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you have your four adventures. Highport is a focal point. We all know Highport's map sucks, right?
Well, the design is that it's not that high. It's not a. I don't think it's a good example of good city design.
This is from the Slavers.
Yeah.
So it serves a purpose that where stuff is on here. Mm-hmm. Michael. Yep. Your main Sarfargan, the Unmerciful will return. Mike, I figured out what I'm going to do. So, well, you have this one, and Aaron Froke allows me to link it. Here's Aaron's.
Yeah, that one is much more interesting.
Much better.
And yeah, has
Jimmy.
When you think about it, most of the city maps in Greyhawk aren't much of anything, right?
Exactly, they are. Yeah.
Well, we got Alyssa now working on them, right? She just did Wamtham. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching those. Those are great. But like the maps that came in Fate of Istis.
Oh, they're awful.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They're. But we have to pay some homage to them when we redo them, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So know that we've seen them and stuff. So like Alyssa is doing. So yeah.
Well, it's. Of course, we should do that. Definitely.
Yeah, but I agree. They need a lot of rework, so to speak.
They do. This one's not bad. This one isn't bad.
No, I love that map. Yeah. That is a great map. Yep.
So,
and it adds believable geography and stuff like that to it as well.
And I want to homage him, even though this is off topic. The other one that he has that's really good. I
haven't seen a bad map from him. They're all fantastic.
Here's Enstad.
Mm-hmm.
There's Enstad. That's another good one. So those are the two that he has done, and they are yes, Elfgren, Alyssa Faden is, and in fact she has Wamtham 95% done.
There's a whole bunch of city mapping being done. I think it's more city mapping being done for Greyhawk now than ever in its existence before.
We're seeing a real renaissance of Greyhawk material, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep. Ironically, now that it's not supported by WotC.
Yep. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm working on Crit Wall and I'm working on Crit Wall and surrounding areas too.
Yep.
So it's coming. Yep.
Grandpa,
pretty soon I'm going to be fighting battles on my channel
good.
with the Greyhawk armies. So it's
Cool.
not mapping specific, but there's going to be things happening that I think a lot of people are going to find a lot of fun.
How does one support that work, Elfgren? I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
You Patreon Alyssa and Anna. There you go. It's a simple way to do it.
And Joe Bloch. Yeah.
And Joe, of course. All of them.
Yep.
And then you hang out
I'm
here
sorry.
on this channel and support here, and this is where we get everyone. They're wonderful. So I promise you, Mike, a special cloak of invisibility for you. When you put it on, you think you're invisible. There you go. There you go, Elfgren. You should Patreon Joe and Anna and anyone else, and you're subscribed here, so you're good. So a suggestion I made on last Friday night's Fantasy Mapping show, and by the way, Alyssa will return. Alyssa's playing in the joust too, everyone. She says she's going to kick Luke's ass, which is really hysterical. I suggested for her next city is to do blue, which we know nothing about. Joe, what do we know about blue?
My headcanon is that there's a big rivalry with the city of Blue and the city of Old Red in Relmore Bay.
Because of the color.
And so that they meet in the middle and they have these naval battles with one fleet of blue sails and one fleet of red sails. But in reality,
we know nothing.
We know a little because it's mentioned in Slavers.
Right.
It's like, I think it's supposed to be the biggest city in the Pomarj, and it's got a fleet of orcish pirates, and Turash Mac is giving them money and stuff to raid shipping in the Sea of Girnat. But other than that, we don't have maps or anything like that of it, as far as I know.
It sounds like a perfect next one. I'm pushing hard for blue.
Haven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I like blue. Yep.
Yeah. So we will discuss that, of course, Mike. So so it's a pirate haven for orcish pirates, which is neat. I imagine there's some humans too, but
and we have Scarlet Brotherhoods are there too, and which I think is really cool. In my campaign, I have it that is one of the scanned on the eastern side, and blue and Scarlet Brotherhood are the main supporters of Turusmak and the humanoids on the Pomarj, keeping them under arms with resources and stuff like that. So
I wish Jason Zavoda were here, because he'd go, Anna, in the Gore books, they slaughtered all the Scarlet Brotherhood people at Strainkeep Castle and kicked them out.
Oh yeah, but that's not everybody who was. They could slaughter everybody at the castle.
They killed 2 of them.
Exactly, but that doesn't mean
I thought the whole army was Scarlet Brotherhood.
No,
I thought the army was a front for the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Right.
Yeah, but they were
they weren't an actual Scarlet Brotherhood army.
I thought okay.
The Scarlet Brotherhood was just in charge of the castle.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they were the military advisors or whatever we will call them in real world today. So yeah.
Okay.
But if you read through some of the stuff that they keep trying to put in the Scarlet Brotherhood as being behind Turash Mac and the orcs and everything like that. So they're already in there. There's a lot of Scarlet Brotherhood floating around there.
Wait a minute. I don't remember that in the Slavers at all.
Oh yeah.
A little bit, but not. I mean, it's not. Brother Karen is in there, right? Brother Karen is the only one. He's one. All right, so this is great when we have all three of us here going.
We got the secrets of Turash Mac.
Here we go. Yep. Brother Karen. This guy right here, the monk, is a Scarlet Brotherhood agent.
Here we go. In collusion with other agents of the Scarlet Brotherhood, the 2 former slave lords concocted a plan to unite the humanoid tribes of the Pomarj and carve out a new nation. With their experience and the contacts of the slave lords and the resources of the Scarlet Brotherhood, only one thing stood between Theg Narlor and domination: the Earth Dragon. Yeah. So they're definitely, they've got support from the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Yeah.
For that
support. Okay. And this is Theg Narlet here, who they now I don't know how many people agree with Bruce with Pramus and Sean Reynolds about that this is Turash Mac. I don't know if I buy it.
I put it in the same category as the Elder Elemental God is
It's
Tharsden.
Tharsden. I agree. Okay, good.
Mm.
These are the slave lords that are in the Slavers reference, Mike. These are the I know them all by heart here, with the one exception. They're missing the main one. So that is this reference book here, the Slavers. This is on the cover. This is Davis the Reaver on the cover here, and there are the yellow sails. You don't know what town this is, but you know they're raiding somewhere. You know this is so in this book you got Brother Karen, you got Fegnarlet, Ungen, who's a fallen paladin of Mayaheen, who has is a kleptomaniac. He's a collector. He's a weird collector. Stallman, that's Stallman Klim, right? Abe, this
Yeah.
the ogre,
We
the
have a-
half ogre,
Yep.
Kent, and oh my god, what the heck's the mage's name? That's the one I don't remember.
But we have a good
mage.
question. What is the Mayaheen shield doing in that menagerie there?
He's a fallen paladin.
Ah, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
He's a fallen paladin because he's a collector. He has a kleptomaniac, so he's lawful neutral now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I can use these guys to get more things.
Yeah.
So he is. That's why. Yeah, he was a paladin in Mayheen. Now he's just a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a fallen. Yep. No. Gosh. Oh, I knew them all but one. I can look it up in the book here. But they're missing this one. This one's being missed. She's not there. There's Marquesa.
And let me just send a shout out to
Patrick.
Canadian Ancient Gamer. Thank you so much.
That's Patrick. Patrick keeps everyone
Yeah,
up.
he will get you.
He'll
Yep.
get you. He got you good.
Yep.
Thank you, Angry Bald Man. Angry Bald Man for the follow. So, and this is Devin. And you can see there's lines here on his face. So this area of his face was completely reconstructed. It was destroyed by a black dragon. She rebuilt his face right there. So that's why he's devoted to her. And that's Marquesa, the most evil surface elf in all of the Flannis. That anyone want to disagree with me on that?
And you will find out a lot more about her if you get Carlos's modules.
Yeah. I think
So-
the only one that can compete is Keek from the yeah.
Yeah,
Keek might be the only one that might be the someone who could want to compete for that title. Yeah.
Yeah, so Praetors Rejects is going to be doing them. I'm not going to be doing them. I'm going right to the Sly Keta, Slippery Keta one shortly, Thicker Than Water. We're going to be doing this one shortly on live stream and with a lot of ship combat. So that's coming. But I owe her a sword to the back. Yeah, I mean, she's one of my favorite characters of all time. So, and they're all here at Kellen Lekos. She experiments there.
I'm sorry, Uncle Fuss. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You hear it, and well, it's good to have nightmares in D&D. Yeah, and there's other Marquesas floating around. She's, she leaves her experiments wander around the mountains. She's great. I love her. She's one of my favorites. All right, so from the Slavers book, you have a lot of great information. You have information running about the entire area of this, but it's mostly centered about Slavers activity, which is this area here and Highport. Right, it really doesn't go a lot into other areas. It may mention them, but those are the main areas that the Slavers book details.
Yeah,
Aren't they like raiding in the near dive or something too?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh yeah, they're up there on the peninsula, the Dragon's Head Peninsula, whatever it's called. No, that's no the Greyhawk Peninsula. Yeah,
right here.
Dragon's Head is on. Well, yeah.
So right here is where Marquesa the Red is.
Yeah,
All right, so here we go.
Cove.
I'm going to show you how good I am at this. This is where Marquesa the Red is. Okay, from the Slavers.
Yeah, and to me, it's one of the most interesting geographical political anomaly. That peninsula is the most strategically best placed thing in the whole central of Greyhawk, and there is no settlements there except for it's like left completely deserted. Everybody, there must be something to it. I tried to figure out what the heck, why no one wants it, so to speak. So
Marquesa the Black.
Yeah.
Savant's Tower. Okay. Marquesa the Gold. Elrid. Okay. Marquesa the Green. Between Elrid and Hardby wandering here. Okay, a failed one who didn't take, who actually is probably not evil anymore. And somewhere over here, in a recent adventure, Anna, in this area here, Marquesa the Silver, which I just used. Remember, with John from Blue Box was here, and he went and tried to backstab Marquesa. It was not just So yeah, I added Marquesa the Silver just recently, and that was a fun one up here. So in the Pomarj. So there you go. So you have all the Marquesa clones running around in the adventures, and then you have 3 by Carlos. We might have a blue-black one now. Well, that's cool.
Hang on a second. There was one. Go up the coast until you get the dragon or the that peninsula sticking out there. Zoom in.
Cars.
Zoom in. No, Morio Point. There's a Marquesa there too, because
Carlos.
Carlos ran an adventure. I forgot which one that is set on that little island. And the funny thing was that Carlos had written an adventure at that area on the little island, and then he said, "Oh, can you put it on the map?" And we looked at the map, and there was a little island there. That was the coolest ever, so to speak. And he assured me he'd never looked at my map in that detail, and I'd never heard of his adventure. So that was a little island, and he was like, because when he described the adventure, this was at GaryCon, we played it, and he described the backstory, and I started looking at the map, and it's like, there's a little island there, and I held it up, and that was so cool. So then I knew the name, and the next edition of the map, Moray Point, was the name of the island. So yep.
So there's no reason.
I rely on your maps so much.
We all do.
Whenever I've got Word up here, and I've got a window in my browser with your maps in it, and I constantly refer to it all the time.
Cool. Yeah,
Joe,
that's slowly becoming a little bit of a standard. Yep.
So like here is where Mike Disney's characters Torvarg and the Unmerciful is based. The Lord Page estate, which is right here on the map with his lightning bolt symbol and all outside of Highport. No one messes with him. It's like Mastrine. You want to mess with him, you're just asking for trouble, right? He's actually more. I have him more powerful than Mastrine, if you can believe it. Mano a mano, not organization. Mano a mano. So, as map is a lifesaver, absolutely. Okay, so this gives you a little bit of Slavers from the Ashes, where everything is, why it's here, and then. But we have a little treat because now we're going to go and show you something even cooler. And this is what Joe did. 1991.
1991.
Right? This is before all this, except for Free City Greyhawk box set.
Yeah, this was written in 1989.
So it's right at the Free City Greyhawk box set when it came out. So it's
this was written before Greyhawk Wars, and before From the Ashes and all that stuff. So Turash did not exist when I wrote this.
Yeah, so before the Card Sergeant era, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. This was, and they waited like 2 or 3 years to print it.
Wow.
I was like, I'm never going to hear from these people. And then I got a check.
Oh, they didn't say it's going to be published. They just paid you, and then they showed up.
They sent. I didn't hear from them for a while, and then they sent me the check, and then it never showed up. It never got printed. And like 3 years later, I'm in the Air Force by that time, and I buy it, and I'm flipping through it, and I see my name in it.
Wow!
And no one told you.
Right. I just.
Oh my God.
That's so cool that you get to read it without knowing it first. That's
like, what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is just as Joe See the Pomarj and Die article from 1991 published, but written before that.
Joe, one question. Did you set the title See Pomarj and Die, or was that something they did?
That I did, and that's another reason I cringe when I see this article.
Okay.
Okay.
I like the title.
Joe, how old are you when you wrote this?
Let's see. I read in 90, so I would have been
22,
24.
Okay.
23, 24, somewhere in there.
Yeah. It's 31 years ago. I mean, think about that. You wrote something and got it published all that time ago. So the Pomarj is famous in the lore of Central Flanders as a nest of humanoids, giants, and other fell creatures. However, few people have made a serious study of the lands known as the Chaos Fields and the Hills of Horror. Far from being merely a reservation for a number of humanoid tribes, refugees, nice reference from the Hateful Wars, 498 to 510 CY. The Pomarj is living and breathing. They're not exactly thriving region in its own right. Very cool. All right. So, and you have the honor of putting in the map for this area of the map.
Yeah, they really went all out on this. I mean, they did a color extract of the map. They did artwork for it, tables. I mean, they really did well with this thing.
Definitely. Very. I can even blow this up a little bit more. Is it too much? No, it's good. Okay. So you got a history here, which is good. Talking about it was settled. So region settled about 1100 years ago by Iridian tribes fleeing eastward from the Great Wars in the west. So it's Illyrian soul mix, right?
This is the start of the timelines of things really were not well established when I wrote this. So a lot of the things that came later in terms of timelines and things like that really contradict what I wrote here because they didn't exist at the time, and nobody paid attention to my article.
Joe, I know that 100%, man, because my stuff goes back to 80, and no, it's like it contradicts stuff. Like my entire Principality Ulick Pomarj area contradicts everything that happened from 1983 on. So I understand, Joe. I understand 100%.
Although it's funny though, because as they went on, they used more and more pieces of this article in published stuff, like the Living Greyhawk,
Gazetteer.
Uses it from The Adventure Begins uses it, Slavers uses it. So some parts of the history didn't get used, but some did. So this is like quasi canon.
Yeah, Gary says Eric Mona liked it and used it, and that's where Eric Mona's influence came, which is good.
Well, I used to be Eric Mona's DM when we both lived in Boston.
That's true. I forgot about that. That is definitely true. Why'd you write this article?
I'd always loved Greyhawk, and I don't know really why. Oh no, I know why. Because in college, I was doing a campaign that was set in the Wild Coast, and I had all this stuff that I had, maps and stuff that I had done for the Pomarj. So I decided to put it together and see if I could get something published.
That's awesome. Really fantastic. So it says here, the arrival of the Sul tribes were neither welcomed nor despised, and two groups eventually merged into stock found throughout the Central Fans today. There you go. The Sul Iridian mix of the Keelandish area. So the area prospered under rule of petty lords for 2 centuries, which we know. In 350 CY, the whole region was absorbed in the Empire of Keeland, set up as march of its own. The Pomarj. Is that?
That's me.
That's you.
That's me, and it's fallen into common use.
That's awesome. That's a really, really cool thing. That's nice. So it's brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant? That's why I wanted to have Joe on for this discussion. The region was called the Pomarj.
I'm so amazed that people still remember this article, and people do all the time.
Oh yeah, it's the best source material for Pomarj, and
source material for the Pomarj for years.
Yeah. It's awesome, and then also the later stuff that was also good refers to this. So that's why when you read the later material, you go back to this. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
So and then it says that you mentioned Highport, Blue, and Stoneheim as the 3 largest cities. With the allegiance of the demi-human realms of Ulick, the Pomarj was wrested away from the domination of Keeland. Due to the great numbers of dwarves and gnomes already at work in the region, the newly crowned prince took possession of the lands, not as absolute monarch, but as protector. So it was a tributary / protectorate of the principality. It wasn't actually part of the Principality Ulick.
That's another thing that got kind of contradicted by later material.
Okay. So what is the article source? Oh, Nagoya Joe. It's Dragon 167. Okay.
Right.
This is Dragon Magazine 167. Greed is often an overwhelming factor in human behavior. Yep. The human inhabitants of the Pomarj began to resent the growing power and wealth of the Dwarven lords. The evil mage Count Veha. Okay, who was that in your campaign?
He was somebody I made up for this article, and that's one of the aspects of this article that never seems to have gotten behind it.
Okay.
Like nobody's ever made reference to him.
Yeah.
Okay. An outcast from the court of Overking Roxas. So it sounds like almost like the Veil of the Mage guy.
A little bit.
Yeah, but that also kind of makes sense because a big empire like that probably usually generates some outcasts and people that need to flee it from one, and especially like powerful people that upset and end up on the wrong side in some power dispute. They have to flee and become defectors.
And remember, this was before they really gave a background for the Veil, the Veil stage.
Mm-hmm.
So it says here, the prince was going to give away a piece of Pomarj to his cousin, Lord of the Iron Hills. The prince saw a collection of pay human states on his eastern borders, an excellent compromise. But Count Veha was not satisfied, having wrangled for himself. Yes.
Hang on a second. I like that reference because here you tie together the dwarfs of Ulick and the dwarfs of the Iron Hills and Iron Gate and stuff. And I think that's really cool. You make
I'm
a
pretty sure I got that from The Hobbit.
Okay.
Where Thorin Oakenshield makes reference to his cousin Dayan of the Iron Hills.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's where I got that. I don't remember.
Okay.
And also, the Iron Hills have got to be a ripoff of Lord of the Rings Iron Hills. I think definitely because it's such a small mention.
And that might also be one of the reasons why it's not listed as a realm. It's mentioned, but it's not listed. Right. It's overlooked. It's mentioned in the. That's why I put it on the map, because it's like talked about, but it's not listed. It's like the invisible realm. It's like, okay, the dwarves are ruling it, so we're not going to talk about it. And the other one is Heartland up in Vestvi, that an elven realm that is talked about but not never listed as a separate realm as well. But that's a later reference. And
the Iron Hills as a dwarven settlement are also mentioned in Hawk the Slayer.
Okay.
Yes, Hawk the Slayer. Yes, Crow.
Yeah.
What was the dwarf's name in Hawk the Slayer?
Balin.
Yeah, and he just him and the giant. All they did was eat the entire show.
The giant Gort.
Yeah, the eyeballs, right? And
these are the finest sugar turtles money can buy.
What a great! I heard they're doing a sequel. Is that true?
They did it. Yeah. They also did a sequel to The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Wow. Very cool.
They were relatively recent. They're not very good.
Oh, that stinks. It's not like a Top Gun remake where it's really good, right? It's something else.
The Hawk the Hunter is not going to make more money than Infinity War. No,
that's a shame. I did not know that. I've not seen that. I'm trying to get one of those posters, originals. That's one I'm working on. I got the Knight Riders poster. I'm still working on a Hawk the Slayer poster.
I've got a Knight Riders. I've got a Knight Riders poster, and it's signed by Tom Savini.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Mine's not signed.
I almost got it signed by Brother Blue.
No way. Oh my God. Joe's one up with me on Knight Riders.
Oh man, Knight Riders is one of my favorite movies ever. And
Brother Blue.
Before I had a chance to go up to Boston, where he was going.
Oh my God!
One of my best friends from college studied under him storytelling.
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no! You won't outdo me on Knight Riders, man. I love that movie.
So one of us has to get Ed Harris to sign it. I've been
trying to find it, and Patricia Tallman. Who she plays the teenager in Knight Riders. She was also Lita Alexander in B5.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to see if she's ever at a con out east, because I will definitely get her to sign it too.
Because Savini was in that vampire movie, right? The one with George Clooney. Yeah. Very cool. Wow, that's some cool. I didn't know there was anyone else who hadn't had one of those posters. Are so tough to get a hold of. They're so rare. Because they just.
I think mine is a reprint. I just got mine.
Oh, okay. Mine's an original, and it's spent. I don't even want to tell you how much I spent on it.
I can't even imagine. Yeah,
there's supposedly only 10 in existence. So
I believe it.
Yeah. So all right. So sorry about the Knight Riders going off on a tangent. That's so funny.
But I digress.
Yes. All right, we're gonna have a movie discussion again. And thank you, GD, for the resub there. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, fantasy movies.
At least I know what the motorcycle is that is on the poster.
Yeah, they joust on motorcycles. That's it.
Yeah, the CBX.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh! All right, so the lands prospered. I like this. So he's not. He doesn't go undead. So he doesn't turn in. I'm so happy he doesn't turn into a revenant, or he doesn't turn into a freaking what are those animus or anything like that. He just takes potions and he takes one and it reverses on him. I love that.
Kind
The
of
point is the longevity,
Boom!
exactly.
Yeah.
And
he rolled a 00.
Yeah, that is. It's a 1% cumulative per potion taken, right? So
Something
he got if he had taken it, it's he aged many decades and spent a few minutes, and that was the end of him. Perfect thing as he was amassing his army. Count They had died, and that was it for him. That's a very cool discussion. David, I spent when we moved in this house, I wanted it, and my wife almost killed me when she found out how much I spent on it. But I'm still married. So, ironically, it was his wealth that allowed the prince to organize a highly successful. So, a vast number of fell beings dwelled among and beneath the Lord Mills. So, it's kind of like a seeds planted here for them after the Hateful Wars to head that direction. That's cool. Right. The wiser tribal leaders fled. And and this is so. What year does it say? What year that Veha died? Is it Veja or Veha?
I pronounced it Veja.
Veja, okay.
But Veha works just as well.
All right. So 10 years under. All right. So we're talking about around 500.
No, it would be 488.
488. He died. Okay, so it's.
No. No, you're right. You're right. 500. No.
Yeah, or 503 maybe when they took it over in 513, and that range. Okay. All right. So when the humanoids came through, when they got thrown out with the Hateful Wars, this is where thousands upon thousands came down, laying waste to dozens of villages and mining communities. Here's I miss, and I think what I'm going to do is, Anna, next time I'm going to have you add a whole bunch. This area is like blank. I mean, the Twisted Forest is here, and the Tower of Heavens from Living Greyhawk. I think I'm going to add some more ruins all throughout here on the map.
Yeah, because we have the southern and the eastern part of the Pomarj is kind of almost devoid of detail and references and stuff. It's because the slavers and stuff, they from Pomarj or from High Port south to the center, there's tons of it, and we have lots of material and stuff. But the area around Blue, we know like 4 sentences. That's it.
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of potential.
Yep.
Look at the eastern coast, meaning that's prime real estate, meaning you have a good climate, you have a good coastline, strategic location in the world, etc. like that. And yeah, that's potentially interesting area, and there could be a lot of old ruins and stuff. Meaning back in KOish times, that there were probably some lords and stuff who kind of set up shop along the coast in different areas and stuff, and their ruins should be around there. And then someone maybe moved in or moved out again or got Where
is UK4 when a star falls?
UK, isn't that
in the Cairn Hills?
Okay, I'm not sure.
Maybe I don't think that one's in the Pomarj. I could be wrong.
Most of the UK adventures are set down in the
but all that glitters is not. All that glitters is near Cauldron, right? We
yeah, that's way down, but that's shoehorned in afterwards. So that's not that's like retcon long after it came out.
Okay, I don't know about when a star falls. I don't have it here, but it could be.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the article here. So dwarves and gnomes were put to the sword, and vast number of human slaves were taken. Within a month, it was over. The humanoids had firmly entrenched themselves in the Pomarj, because there's no main defense. There's just commerce, right? There's no defense going on here. No one's thinking about it. There's like, we're safe here. We're out in the middle. We're nowhere near anything, right? And so
exactly.
Yeah,
the war's 300 miles from us.
Yeah, and also that demographic probably low. They didn't have that many troops. They didn't have that many people to begin with, I guess. So yeah.
So even the 3 ports of the region were seized. In this case, it was treachery rather than force of arms. That makes sense. Yep. And this one says that humans are set upon from unexpected directions to sea. Co-opponents and aquatic odors aided their air-breathing cousins. Interesting. The Prince of Ulick sought to relieve the Pomarj and destroy once and for all the humanoid tribes. And that caused him so much grief over the years. A rather large expeditionary force was sent over the Jewel River, but was turned back with heavy losses before it even entered the highlands of Pomarj belonging to the humanoids from then on. So, funny. All right, I'm going to digress for 1 second. So my areas here are from 1980, right? Wales Castle, Outpost number 2 and Outpost number 1, built along the defense here. Yeah, just I was thinking the other direction. I was thinking a defensive hold, not an offensive into the Pomarj. So with that, but the prince must have attempted to cross and just didn't get anywhere. And we know what happened. Well, maybe we don't, but jump ahead to Living Greyhawk, and the whole half of the Prince of Ulick gets taken over at that time frame.
But also in my you know those the World of Greyhawk articles that they had in the 80s
events
about,
in Eastern and Southern Flannis,
right? But I kind of continued them and covered all the places that they never got to. And one of the things I did was in 577, 78, I had the Prince of Ulick laying siege to Strandkeep Castle.
Okay.
And then getting pushed back. And, so there was like kind of this low-grade warfare going back and forth on the border. He's, the prince is going in and he's getting pushed back. So
did you tie that in with the Gord books?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where...
in as much as I mentioned Strandkeep Castle. So,
right.
Although in my article, he gets pushed back. They don't take the castle yet.
Okay. All right. So the book may have been a second wave or another.
Yeah, the timing of when those the rogue books happen is
kind of nebulous.
Weird.
Okay. Yeah, because
exactly. We had Jason Sabota. He kind of made trying to investigate. I forgot what date he came up with, but it was like, what was it? The
580 something, but that seems
early. I thought it was 579.
Yeah, actually, I think it was earlier. It was 560s, 570 something. It was
that
like
even makes less sense though.
Okay, I forgot, but he made I don't quote me on the date, but he made a theory and had a discussion about what date and go to Cannon Fire. Yeah, and you can listen to the discussion there. So yeah,
interesting. So there's been much reconstruction since the Pomarj invasion more than 60 years ago, mostly in the rebuilding of fortresses and castles throughout the region. Even the 3 cities are returned to fairly normal status. Commerce takes place, ships sail to and from the harbors, people walk the streets. But everywhere there are visions of orc, hobgoblin, and gnoll. I'm going to try and answer your question about the hobgoblins here. 580, you think? Yeah, I thought it was right around that time. I thought it was 579, they said. Many humans of evil bent have flocked to the Pomarj. This is all pre-Slaver's book, everyone. Now, A series are out, but Joe does not have the Slaver's book.
Right.
That's not in existence. So it's ironic they may have pulled that from this, right?
I actually found a few lines that they took verbatim. A couple of sentences out of here just show up in Slavers. It's really fun.
It's a great thing to know that you have an homage, that this continued onward. So you got tribes here, majority, and we're going to go over them in a second. These tribes can be divided into 2 major types. The first humanoid tribe are those major tribes with a permanent base. More often than not, these bases are former Dwarven mines or strongholds, sometimes expanded by their new inhabitants. All right. And they're larger than what's in the Monsters Compendium as far as the amounts.
You can tell it's the 2E era.
Absolutely, yeah, true. All right, Joe. What do you consider an Orog to be? What's the difference between an Orog and an Ogrillin?
Orog. I'm trying to remember.
So
one of those half orc, half ogre.
That's an Ogrillin and Fiend Folio.
Right. That's the Ogrillon. Orog. I'd have to look at.
So for me, I think this is stupid. Sorry, everyone. One, the mother is an ogre. The other, the father is an ogre, which I think is dumb. Okay. All right. That's according to. So I have Orogs as half orcs / orcs that can level that are like Urukai types, elites. That's what I have them as. But people can have them differently because you have the Ogrillin, but Ogrillin tends to disappear in later editions more and more and more. The Ogrillin does. Okay. So just note,
a lot of monsters get left by the wayside.
They do. They do. Orog, right here. See the word Orog? Orog.
I think
it
the same happened. Oh, sorry.
Eyes Evil. It appears in Eyes Evil too. Orogs. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say the flints are another one that kind of falls by the wayside later too. That was kind of cool that we have a Greyhawk version of
flints.
the Knoll.
Yeah, flints, Norkers.
Love Norkers.
Yeah, they're still around more, but yeah.
I love Zvarts.
Yeah, Zvarts are cool. Yeah.
Zvarts are awesome. Yep. So all very good. All right, here you go. And now you're going to notice something here. And once again, did you use all these out, every single one?
I think I put everyone. Yeah, I think so.
So this is the location on the map. This is the location on the Darlene map, which is really neat.
Which is so cool because there is locations. So that's why I went with them and kept them.
There are the number of warriors, and that means that constitutes. This is 1/3 to 1/2 of the number of the tribe, depending on roughly. So, and this is the type of you have here. So you have gnolls, orcs, kobolds, hobgoblins. You even have a flint one, which is a big one for flints. No, I don't see any ogre ones here. These are all the humanoids. These are not right. This listing here. Yep. So this is Dragon 167 still. This is just that one article. Yep. It's not a big article too. It's like 3 pages, which is a great thing. You get so much detail in 3 pages.
And this table here has been used verbatim in The Adventure Begins, and was greatly expanded on in Slavers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I miss Dragon 2, Mike. I miss Dragon 2. But now let's take a look at this. We're going to go up north, and we take a look at some of these: Bloody Axe, Bleeding Moon, Black Tongue. Like, look, Black Tongue. They're here. I just put them all on the map for you. All of them, and the location is correct.
But there's a couple of them that lacks heraldry, and that's on my project to kind of make heraldry for the rest that are missing.
I am going to need that, Anna.
Okay.
For my other, for my armies project.
Okay, so I'll when I get to it, I'll send them to you for review first. So
plus, Joe, they're all in the new style too, man.
But the thing is, I have to do them in both styles because for mapping purposes, it's much better to have the simple SVG, because you can't put all that PNG on the map because that will kill any software.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to have kind of a low resource version that is SVG to put on the maps, and then have a fancy PNG textured thing. I tend
to use the simpler ones in my articles, but the other ones look really nice.
Yep. Yeah, so there will be both. So now I have to go, because I've done a whole bunch of them in the new PNG textured style only. So now I had to go back and do them in the low resource SVG vector format too. So that's
I think this is my favorite one, Rotting Kraken.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Eventually, what I want to do is I want to take that heraldry and put them on transfers, like decals, and then put them directly on my figures.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think Anna's going to do penance too, right? Eventually.
That's the idea. Yeah. And now when we have AI graphics, AI engine, that opens up some cool possibilities. So I'm going to get Midjourney to help me out on that. And
it's funny you should mention the penance, because those I'm actually going to print out and put on the figures.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to. Yeah. So my idea is to do battle standards and stuff like that for the different colors and stuff. I just need to have templates for them that I can tweak. Yeah.
What you're working on and what I'm working on are just so much in sync right now.
Cool. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yep.
And it's you got so much here. You got so when you go to this article, and a lot of this is in Slavers as well. And they have more on the larger humanoids, if I recall correctly, in Slavers. Is that correct? I think Slavers has a little bit more on the on ogres.
I know they filled in a lot of detail on this section, so I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Yeah, and you got a whole bunch of minor tribes that don't even count all these major tribes here: Flynn's, Gnolls, Goblins, Hobgoblins, Kobolds, Orcs. This does not mean, Jay, you're using 15 millimeter miniatures for your Greyhawk armies, right? No, I don't. Oh, Joe uses 15.
Yes, I'm doing 15s for my Greyhawk armies. Yes,
Wargaming.
I'm in the midst of painting right now a whole bunch of Panem light cavalry.
Oh wow!
That I picked up at Historicon. I got a whole bunch of what are they called? Bedouins.
Oh, nice. 15 millimeters is the wargaming one style of play from all the way back in the day. That's the one you use.
A lot of people do 25s and 28s now, but I just prefer the 15s. You can have more of them on the table, and they're much more forgiving in terms of painting.
Right. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They take up like less room. You can have more battle space on the same table. So yeah,
I'm an indifferent painter to begin with, so I can just slap some color on it, do a wash, and I'm done.
All right, so we'll talk about that in a second, Eric. So I'll ask that question. You're doing 10 millimeter blood? Wow, whoa, that's small.
Wow.
I've seen people do 2 millimeter.
Oh my gosh,
2 millimeter. Wow,
2 millimeter.
You need like a magnifying glass to see which side the units are.
I've done 6. I mean, I do 6 mil a lot for certain things, for sci-fi and World War II. But 2 millimeter is just, you might as well just have cardboard counters at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Rex Fellis, Cat Lord, Joe Mio said this. What rules are you using to adjudicate your battle?
I am working on something I call quick fantasy battles, which is 4 pages. It's meant to be printed out on a sheet of tabloid paper and then folded over. And in fact, I will be doing play tests of it on my channel coming very, very soon.
That's awesome. That is really cool. Me, I use D&D rules with a lot of dead characters all over the place, especially So I kind of keep the same style there. All right, so you have all these wonderful tribes located. Remember, they are all not friendly with each other. But I don't. Is there a dominant humanoid? Is it orcs or
orcs is the big one? Yeah, which makes sense because. Well, it makes sense in retrospect with Turash Mak,
right,
and Orcish Empire of the Pomarj.
Okay,
but that's just a happy accident.
There's a lot of there's a lot of other ones though. I mean, I assume he well, it depends on how Turash Mak is, how you think about him. So, all right, so you have the slave lords here. This is pre-slavers,
right? This was just when we had A1 through 4.
Mm-hmm. The second stage is the conquest of the Pomarj, at least establishing some sort of hegemony over it, which is the Earth Dragon cult. Just so happens. Lastly, slave lords seek to subjugate the whole region east of the Lort Mill, starting with an invasion of the Wild Coast by the humanoid hosts after the fall of Selene, which they realized will be a most difficult campaign. I have this going on, but I don't have it with the slave lords. I have it with the Dark Brotherhood attempting to take over Selene. They anticipate seizing the city of Greyhawk as their capital. That is funny. Wow, but you never know. I mean, they are, in the slavers' books, they have an agent already. One of the leaders of the Hardby is one of their.
Yeah, well, it's funny because until I reread the slavers thing, getting ready for today, I hadn't really realized how much of this part of my article got noticed, because that's pretty much their plot.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, you can't complain, or you can't be mad at them for having lack of ambitions, so to speak. They were very ambitious. Yeah.
Patrick, it's always been millimeter in miniatures. I don't know why. Because inches is stupid.
Maybe it was because it was invented back in old Europe back in the day.
Well, yeah, most of the UK, the war gamers.
Yeah,
were all
and
UK,
also and there's a lot of German and others Central European stuff from 200-300 years ago long before then, so to speak. It was like that was established, meaning it's an old hobby. It's several hundred years old hobby.
Yep.
Read Playing at the World. that book talks a lot about the early history, prehistory that led up to D&D eventually, so to speak. And he starts in Germany in 300 years ago or something like that, when they started
in the
Prussia
Franco-Prussian
and stuff
War,
like
I think,
that. Yeah, they started using it as like a tactical education tool for military officers and stuff like that.
And there's also, with millimeter scale, there's 25 heroic, there's 28, there's all different, there's different tweaks with it. It's a lot easier to say that than an inch and an eighth or an inch of 3/16.
I blame Games Workshop for that, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, you're dead on. You're dead on that.
Yeah.
So, didn't the Prussians use counters, not measures? Don't know. Any Rex?
No, the Prussians, I think, used flats.
Okay, yeah.
Flats it's an old kind of miniature that you can still find in some places. It's basically stamped on a sheet of metal that's stamped out and soldered onto a stamp.
Cool.
And they're probably 172s.
Yeah.
Viral Frag. What edition are you talking, Viral Frag? Because if you're talking 5th, I better not answer that question. 5, okay. So the question was, I'm sorry, this goes off on a tangent, but that's okay. How ability scores, if the rules state to a max of 20, does that pertain to your base ability score, the stat you rolled at character creation, nothing added to it, or total score, your base stat plus everything? That's your base. That's just your initial base score. Because they can go up. They can go up with enhancements and stuff and things like that. 5e's max is 20 for PCs. Thank you, Dorgrim. They can go up with all sorts of items and enhancements and stat increases. So that's what it talks about.
In theory, 1st edition, you could go up to 25.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of dwarves could have 19 con. Halflings and elves could have 19 dex to start.
Gray elves could have a 19
intelligence
or wisdom, one of the two. Yeah,
intelligence. It was intelligence. I got a +1 to it. Yep, good point. Yeah, you can. Yeah, your base score still can only be 20. All right, so here is the cool thing. Here we go with Crovis, everyone. The Drakenskrab Hills are rumored to hide the resting place of one or more powerful creatures who may someday return to life. Okay. Ignore any other publications up to this point, please. Hidden in the sandy hills of the Pomarj lies the resting place of Crovis, a quasi-deity. Crovis has been resting in a hidden crypt for almost 2,000 years, awaiting the time foretold in several ancient Flan legends. When his presence is once more required in the Flan, as Crovis is close to the deity Tritherion, and it is his purpose to prevent the domination of any goodly portion of the Flans by a single individual or state. Crovis' avatars in the past emerged from his crypt to bring down several empires that dominated the central regions of the Flanes, including the dominions of the Isles of Woe and the Empire of Lum the Mad. Interesting. Both of which occurred more than 1,000 years ago. So what about Vecna?
Well, remember, this was before any of that was really a thing.
Oh, so, that's true. That's true. There was no.
This was just names out of the DM's guide. Yeah. There was no detail at all about any of these things.
Yep, the cult hasn't started yet.
Yeah, no Vecna, no
Vecna was mentioned, but
Vecna was just a hand and an eye. He
no Asarak taking over everything. Yeah, you're right, Joe. I keep on forgetting about.
Yeah, all that is constructed later. Yeah.
Yeah, it built up afterwards. So, and there are whispers from those sages who know of his existence, that current machination to great kingdom and certain princes of the abyss. This is pre-Graph Wars, everyone, too. Or could potentially reckon Crovis from his sleep. And there you go.
Well, Elfgren asks a really great question, which I've been thinking about. Are there any events that occurred in the official canon timeline that would have triggered the return of Crovis? I think the Ayuz is getting close. In the if Ayuz had been a little more successful in his empire building, that might have awoken Crovis. And if hypothetically, if Ayuz was to defeat Furiondi and Valuna, I'm pretty sure that would do the trick.
God, I'm going to say something I'm going to regret.
Say it. That's the best kind of thing to say.
I hope not. I'm gonna. This is a joke, okay, everyone.
Oh, okay.
Was Crovis blue from the ashes? They just made him blue. Philidor.
Oh God.
Joe, can you be the inspiration for Philidor the Blue? Oh God.
I always thought Philidor was just an aspect of Fizban.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So it got ported over in Dragonlance. Why would Sergeant do that? That's a good.
Yeah. They're both blue, and their names both start with an F sound. So
I think it was a Lord of the Rings ripoff of the two blue wizards that go off into the east, and you never see them again.
Maybe those are the two blue wizards.
Yeah.
But I don't get Crovis to be a wizard type.
No,
I
was a joke, Anna. That was a joke. Yeah. Even though he is a 20th level illusionist.
That's true. Yeah.
So he's pure Flan. He lives in a secret crypt somewhere beneath the Drakenscab Hills, magically hidden from detection, and his avatar emerges only to prevent the conquest of the Flannis by some group. You would think maybe he would have helped the Rovers or something, or maybe when 10 got that would have been awesome if Living Greyhawk, when they brought what did they bring those weird things they were drinking the one night? What was that? What did they do? The ether? What that invasion they did? Anna, when they decided
what invasion?
During Living Greyhawk era, they were drinking, James Jacobs and they decided we're gonna.
Oh yeah, they had a party or something at Gen Con, and
they decided
that's when they decided to screw over 10 and destroy it. Yeah,
but that's destroy it.
Yeah, we heard this story.
The ether threat. That's it, Lang. Yeah, that would bring Crovis out definitely.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Yeah.
And people wonder why I don't like Living Greyhawk.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. There's good points and bad points.
I think they had a lot of fun when they played it, but
yeah, they had fun.
We don't like the outcome.
No, they killed everyone. Yeah. So I love you gave him bronze plate mail. What a rare item. Best report 5.
Yeah.
So he immediately sets upon raising an army, collecting high-level characters over lieutenants.
The bronze armor would have just come out in Unearthed Arcana.
It did, yeah, because it had a worse rear armor class than a front by like 2-3 spots.
Yeah, something like that.
Wondered if he was some clone aspect of Tensor, since Tensor was supposed to favor blue. You can ask Joe that question. Joe made him, so.
No, I think that's not. I don't. Well, wait a minute. I think you're crossing Jay's joke with.
Oh yeah. It was a joke. That was just a joke because you know how much I hate Philidor.
Yeah, I never used him. I don't think I ever will. Ever will. So yeah. I might make an homage and say that there is some wizard dressed in blue that they can clubber to death or something in some adventure. You never know.
Or just find his corpse in the woods.
That's true. Yeah,
that's one of the one things I just
that might be a little bit too drastic, but some homage somewhere. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those.
It's too stereotypical, I think, and yeah.
Yeah. It shows Gallop Dreidel may have peaked Crovis instance.
Yeah, I must say that I really first when I read Crovis original, when I read the article, I was like, and so on. But now I realize that I come up with something very parallel. So now I think that it would be really, really cool to go and have a quest to revive Crovis and rescue him from his grave and start worship him and have a Flan rescue mission to rescue his bones and so on and so forth, to bring him and make a special and kind of bring home the remains of a dead god, kind of thing.
Oh, maybe,
Well,
maybe the slavers found it and neutralized them somehow, and you can tie that in.
Yeah. So I would love to make a campaign to go look for him, a Flan campaign, and to go look for him and kind of bring him home, so to speak, and start worship him or something. And that way. Yeah, and then that way bring him back, so to speak. Maybe not as a physical agent, so to speak, but as a deity, and start worship him, and maybe he can grant spells, and you never know. But some cool stuff like that is something I would.
Maybe he ascends from quasi deityhood to
exactly to send him up there. Yeah.
Let's remember, this is Gary just recently elevated Benedor to sainthood.
Yeah.
So I have Saint Benedor as one of my worshipable classes. There's no reason that Clovis couldn't reappear as well.
Yep.
Right, and you could have him
And
as,
it will be,
and keep him as a quasi deity. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
Quasi
and it's
deities
cool.
are good.
Yeah, and it's cool because this ties in one more piece of the old Flan puzzle, so to speak, that I think is really cool to kind of lay that puzzle and put together the pieces and kind of revive more of old Flan culture in your Greyhawk campaign. I think that's a cool idea. Yeah.
Flan.
Exactly. I'm doing that right now in my Shieldlands campaign. There's like that underlying layer of old Flan that was there before the invasion and all that. So yep. Kiraptis and a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah.
Venturing in the Pomarj. So you talk about bases in Principality Ulick, Selene, Southern Wild Coast. Sounds like my campaign there, Joe. It's even possible to establish a secret base near Highport Blue or Stoneheim. That's a good idea too. Here's the thing: riddled with old Dwarven mines and towns, not inhabited by humanoids and monsters. There's so much things you can add in this area that are not. We can just add to the map. And don't forget the slave lords. So funny that this is done before the slavers. DMs with access to the AD&D slave lords models can expand them and turn them into a campaign lasting years. It's like Primus and Reynolds, like, you know what? We're just gonna do this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And then you got battle system mentioned here too. So, which is cool. With a little bit of added detail, the Pomarj becomes a vibrant center of activity in the World of Greyhawk campaign and serves as the center of an entire campaign. It's a welcome feature of having a logical reason for concentrating on humanoids and monsters as well as a large number of ancient Dwarven ruins. What more could DM ask for? I agree. So, Joe, what don't you like about your...
Oh, just some of the writing, like that end that
you said campaign
the
twice.
DM asked for. Oh, God,
That's okay.
I want to gag myself when I read that. It's mostly stylistic things. The bit about Count Veja, it seems a bit unnecessary. There's just little things here and there that just annoy me about reading my own writing 30 years later. Lawrence Watt Evans described the same thing. I follow him on Facebook, and he's been going through some of his old work, and he's like, I can't even read this.
That's okay. We all look back on stuff and we go, oh my gosh, but it's a great article. And like I said, there's a lot of base. You know who did this? Any idea?
I do not. I think they did it for the article, though.
Yeah, I'm wondering who. Do we see it?
Timothy Truman.
Timothy Truman.
And he did a lot of really good art back in the day. I think he did Warduke and the original Lich drawings and a whole bunch of cool stuff that was in Monster Manual 1, in Dragon magazines and stuff back in the day. I really like his style.
The funny thing here is this was done in 82. That's what it says. Timothy Truman, 82.
Oh yeah, they might have reused some of this art. You never know. Yeah, they might. They often did back in the day. Yeah.
So, what else would you tweak, Joe, or did you've developed in your campaign off this? Or
well, I would probably go through the timeline a lot more, and just tighten it up, making sure it aligned with what they've established in it. And to Anna's point, I would probably beef up some of the descriptions of the ruined settlements and things like that. But like I say, people still mention this article all these decades.
Yeah.
So, it must be good on some level.
Oh yeah, it held up. It's still holding up really good. So yeah.
And it fills Anna's map a lot.
Oh yeah, it's 80% of the stuff that is in the Pomarj show.
Which is
or somewhere around there. Yep.
Yep. So, and just
I just had to. Oh, sorry.
No, keep going, Anna. Go ahead.
I was going to say that, but what I did was kind of put together the geography between the points, so to speak, and try to figure out how amount of hills and stuff like that, because all we have when it talks about the geography is snippets, a little text snippet here mentioned a little bit there about the climate and stuff like that, and we can talk about the climate here is warm Mediterranean, so to speak. If this would have been in an area landlocked somewhere, it will be semi-desert. It will be arid, hot steppes.
Right.
But now, since there is so much water around it, that means that it becomes Mediterranean. So it's like mild, humid winters and hot, dry summers. That's
like Sicily attached.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, southern Italy, southern Spain, Greece, Turkey, something like that in climate. Yeah.
And the sus is still, and it's really good at this area is just dark and you don't know what's in here.
Exactly. I really try to, and if you look at my maps, the different forests have different colors to depict their what they look like, so to speak. So the sus has one. If you follow it up, almost every forest has its own peculiar little color. In order to Netherwood has one, and Frostwood has another one, and so on and so forth. So the Vestvi has its characteristics, and the Vestvi varies from north to south depending on. Then the Elven realms have more saturation than the non-Elven realms and stuff like that. Little tricks. And another one that very few people have realized: the area around Greyhawk, the rock there has the same color of the stone as the Greyhawk logo originally had in the very first ones. That I took the same RGB values from the logo. So like they cut the logo from the stone outside the city or in the cairns next to the city. So yeah, but very few people seem to have figured that one out. I didn't say anything for like 15 years, and I think I spilled the beans in a Legends and Lore very far away. But no one asked me why are there's two reasons that the hills are yellow. The first is Darlene Hills, but the Darlene Hills are yellow everywhere. But I didn't want to have yellow hills all over the Flanese, so I decided that the Cairn Hills are the kind of the original hills of the setting. So I let them be orange, and that's one of the reason. And the other reason is that the Greyhawk logo is kind of red-orange. It had shifted in color because I started looking at the Greyhawk logos. They were more yellow to begin with, and I got more and more red for some reason, and they beefed up the saturation. So I went with the very oldest I could find somewhere and use the color from there. And the different dragons, it varies too. So yeah. Sorry, that was a tangent. Yeah.
It's okay. We had a lot of them. We had a Night Riders tangent, so I can't blame you. Wayne Reynolds has such great artwork, and it's all destroyed and all gone in the slavers. Unfortunately, here's this Kellen Lekos. This is the picture of that that, which is cool. They build their own. They don't go to Suderham. They just which is I kind of like that idea. And we showed the slaver leaders. This is Stalman Klim. The great thing about in the Pomarj is that the slavers, the Earth Dragon ones, wear the skulls of good aligned dragons that they have slain and make that their helm, which I think is a cool idea. I like that. And they use also use Footman's Flail. I think it's the weapon they use too. So, question for Joe about the Castle of the Mage. All right, let's do it. Castle of the Mage Archmage question. Gygax wrote an article in 75, Expedition to Black Reservoir, Dungeon Adventure at Greyhawk, El Conquistador 12, about a delve into Greyhawk Castle where the adventurer encounters a giant underground reservoir. Does this reservoir correspond to a cistern that's mentioned in your module? A passage from one of your level leads to it off the map.
Yes, and in fact, I actually did a whole level of it as one of the one-page dungeon contests back in the day. So if you go find those one-page dungeon collections I forget which one it was, but one of them has my version of the Black Reservoir. That fits right into Castle of the Mad Archmage.
Yeah, and hang on a second. We have heraldry there. I didn't realize that until now. We have heraldry. I'm going to steal that one.
So BB Fan Fun just did something that connected something that we have said, what the hell is this from? When a Star Falls is in the Pomarj.
Oh, it is? Okay.
At the Tower of the Heavens. That's where it is. It's not a Living Greyhawk location, Anna. It's from UK4.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Good one. BB, I appreciate you doing that and finding that. I may actually run that now. So, because it's there.
Awesome.
I ran it once, but I did not place it there. So, yep. Good catch.
Yep.
Very good catch. And good question there about that connection with Joe's adventure. That's neat. Let me see if I got any other pictures here that I didn't show yet. I got the House of Quiet and the House of Quiet in Highport, run by the Mind Flayer. Yep, it's an inn. You probably don't want to make a lot of noise there. It's linkable to the Twisted Forest. Okay, well that makes total sense. I'm gonna have to check that one. I'm gonna have to go downstairs and get that after the thing tonight. Take a look. Joe, other thoughts on the Pomarj here, which we're talking about? Anything else you want to?
Well, I mean, we really should probably talk about the fact that in the published work, the Pomarj eventually conquers most of the Wild Coast and half of the Principality of Ulag.
Yeah, during Living Greyhawk. No,
that wasn't Living Greyhawk. I think that was that's in The Adventure Begins. That's real Greyhawk.
Yeah,
they're taking it from Living Greyhawk, but that made it into the.
Oh, it's in 2.5.
Oh yeah, I think it's in Sargent era, Greyhawk.
Well, in Sargent era, they took over the southern half of the Wild Coast. In the Roger Moore era, if we can call it that.
They took over this area. They took
they go up as far as Safeton, and then they go to that line of hills in the Principality of Ulag.
So 2.5 Roger Moore, they actually take over this eastern part of the Principality. I
believe so. Yeah, I'd have to. I think I read that this morning.
Yeah, so you see, you can't blame all the bad stuff for Living Greyhawk. Then
I thought it was a Living Greyhawk deal. You have educated me on that. If but once again, there's no Order of Ulick there to stop them, right, Anna? So, interesting. I did not know that, and we also just found out that this is UK4. Did not know that either. And Anna, you've put the Tower of the Heavens there for it, so thank you.
Yep.
Yes, 15,000 orcs and 10,000 goblins and 5, 6.
I think that was something that Paul Luby helped me with getting that one research there. I think, yeah. That's my guess, but it's 20 years ago since we did that, so I might. But I think that was his help with that.
So Rex Fells, I kind of agree to a certain extent, but I tried to implement a lot of the From the Ashes, about 80% of it I did. Well, the Wild Coast part, Sparky, is dead on, but I don't. I have the Adventure Begins here. Here's my Adventure Begins. I'm not going to go search through it now. I believe that happened. So this is pre-Living Greyhawk. This is 2.5. That happened in 2.5. Then I got to stop yelling at the.
There's a few little things like that. Like for the longest time, I never realized that the fall of the Shieldlands happened before Great Wars and From the Ashes.
It fell twice.
Exactly, it fell to the Horn Society first, and then to IUs afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, so what happens is the Kuntz and Gygax's eastern and southern flanus said that the Horn Society is attacking the Shieldlands, right? And then when they came out with a Free State Grail box set, they said, well, that must have continued, and it must have fallen, because you got Valderessa there in Greyhawk as a refugee, basically, and then that mysteriously gets undone, and then Ius comes in and takes over the Shieldlands. But who knows when? But it's Shieldlanders defending it, not Horn Society people. So somewhere there's a little mix up there, right?
That's why I retconned IUs and Horn Society.
Yeah.
I wrote the same thing happened, but I explained it in a different way in my campaign because I saw that weird thing happen.
But that happens. You can't find every little nuance.
No, exactly. But the thing is, I thought that Card Sergeant kind of wanted the story, and he kind of wrote it in no matter what, so to speak, and some of it gets so I kind of I didn't change what happened. I just changed the explanation why it happened in my campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. I mean, how many times did they kill the Circle of 8?
Yeah, but that turned into that was kind of
the Falcon series kills the Circle of 8. Vecna Lives kills off the Circle of 8. Rari kills off 2 members of the Circle of 8. That's 3 times Tensor dies.
It turned into a hobby of the TSR to
3
do
times.
That, so,
Tensor dies, and Aluk dies 3 times, and the 3rd time permanently. So Yeah, it's a lot of killing off over a short period of time, and then Living Greyhawk killed everyone, right? So sorry,
Not
sorry.
they created a bunch of NPCs too. Some of them really good.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm just
so
kidding.
we have to
Yeah. So
to be fair. Yep, at least try to be fair.
What shall we say in closing? This was really good. This is a good angle to take a look at this. This was a fun discussion.
Can I plug something?
Please.
Anything.
Oh my gosh, we need that. We need that for.
Oh, the Cthulhu, yeah.
Yes, my Cthulhu, my Swords of Cthulhu book just came out. It's 128 pages. It's got an orange spine.
Nice.
And it's got classes and races and spells and monsters and all kinds of stuff. It's all based on Lovecraft's original stories, and it's all for first edition. So it's available
says it's nice.
RPG, Swords of Cthulhu, and it's $24.95 for the hardcover, and you get the PDF for free.
That's awesome.
So,
and Joe, you know we have a Cthulhu game here in 2 days, right?
No, I actually didn't.
Yeah,
right, we'll
Friday.
talk about that shortly.
Yep.
Yes, the first one ever on the channel.
Who's going to what cons?
I'll be at PAX Unplugged, and I'll be at GaryCon.
I'm going to be vending at PAX Unplugged.
Really?
Oh, cool. Yeah,
we'll have to have a beer or something.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I might go to PAX Unplugged. It's not decided yet.
Joe,
so yeah.
On Friday night at a bar in Philly. I mean, I had 30 people there last year.
Yep.
So we're gonna have that again.
Keep me in the loop, please.
Absolutely. Someone link the book, please. Link Joe's book off of the site, please, of Drive-Thru. All right. Anyone?
And I'll be at let's see, ShireCon is in a couple of weeks. That's in Connecticut.
Yep.
Epicon is in Pennsylvania, and then
that's in Scranton, though, right?
It keeps moving around. I think it's in Scranton now. Yeah.
Thanks, Mitch. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And that one is like that's in, I want to say in late November.
Yeah, they do it twice a year. Once in the fall, once in the spring.
Yeah, I can never get up there for that one. I should try and get to that one. So Project Badass That's awesome. Anything else? We had a question about 5e publication things that we were doing. I know you got to do them for free, unfortunately, for D&D. Any more Greyhawk ones planned?
No, because I pretty much covered everything you can cover.
Yeah.
But it's all available for free. There's like something on the order of like there's 500 pages of stuff of 5e Greyhawk. There's kits, not kits, second edition. There's backgrounds and there's spells and monsters. All the stuff from earlier editions is now in 5e format, and it's all available on greyhawkgrognard.com for free. Just look at the free resources at the top, along with a whole bunch of other stuff.
And it's all very good, especially when you have the special spells from this book converted to 5e.
Yes,
which is
a lot. I think everything in that book I converted to 5e. The monsters, the magic items.
There's nothing at all wrong with that, and that's really
that's
really
a great
excellent.
resource. Yeah,
it's an awesome resource, and oh, you know what? Let's one thing I forgot. We never got. Let's do that real quick. Sorry, we got the shout out, Joe's shout out. I want to go back to this if I can find it. We never talked about what actually the Twisted Forest is. Real quick, let's just do that real quick. All right. So the Twisted Forest is a cool spot. It's on Anna's map. So what it is it's an area that evil creatures cannot enter for some reason. There was a curse. The Flan tribe cursed the Sul, who slaughtered them. And this area, from that, the curse, or remains of evil creatures, any being of evil alignment which enters the dimension of the Twisted Forest will be affected within 1d4 to 1d20 turns, depending on the degree of evil. And they turn to basically, and they don't turn into like stone, they turn into like rock pillars here. But the trap creatures can attempt to basically magic jar or take over someone who touches them. So it's a neat area to go to, and it's just an area that was cursed by the Flan all those years ago. The original Sewell band of individuals may still be there, which is really, when you think about it, like free some of those people. That would be cool. So you can have fun in this area dealing with the Twisted Forest, which I thought was a really cool idea. And I'd love to know who wrote it, but like I said, that's out of our realm of possibility at this time, unless someone actually says, "Yeah, I did it." And we just don't know. Just don't know about that. Okay. So Anna, what is going on with you? Let me go back here.
First, I need to mention that the 2022 edition of the 598 map is out to my patrons. The JPEG I posted yesterday, and the hexed version and the PDF is done. I just need to post it, but I managed I was dumb and started a render of the Altamira because I felt like I needed to have it done, and that. Well, the problem was that it hogged my computer for like 2 days. So I've taken I've been out doing some photo work and stuff instead in the meantime. So that's why I need to say sorry for everyone, because I've been neglecting email, Facebook, and Patreon stuff for 2 days. So I'm going to catch up starting tomorrow and then especially Friday and Saturday this weekend. So there will be all the versions of the 598 2022 edition will come out this week to the patrons, everything. And I also need to warn everybody that the Easy Zoom links will stop. I will post that on my website and stuff, that they will stop functioning this weekend, the old ones, and there will be new ones placed instead, and all that will come out next week to everybody. So there might be a couple of days where the Easy Zoom links will not work, so to speak, properly when I upload the news. So all the old 598 maps will, but you can actually download them from Easy Zoom if you want to, or you can go to my website and download the old ones. And I will early next week, or this weekend, early next week, there will be switched out all the old links, and the old links will be on my website under older editions. So they will not disappear completely, but they will be new maps. The new version, the 2022 edition, will be uploaded and stuff. So there will be PDFs, JPEGs, and all that. And there will be terrain only maps, because someone sent me the question like, oh, how do I get a player version? Yes, there will be a terrain only version of the map as well that you can do. Plus the fact that the PDF is layered, so you can actually hide the layers you don't want to see. So if you don't want to have names or places, you can actually hide the names, because the names are in a separate layer from the symbol. And then you can hide the symbol, you can hide roads and whatever you want. So
awesome.
So, yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff coming up, but I'm going to wait until Sunday, and I can have more of stuff for future stuff, so to speak. So, but the big thing is the 598 map is coming now. Yeah.
Can you repeat?
It's here.
All right. So it's Alyssa Faden, and she will be she'll be on Friday night, Elfgren, on this game. And there's Alyssa Faden's link for her Patreon, and she's doing Wamtham right now. So.
Oh, she's coloring it now. So she's done the ink work and
wonderful
stuff.
Stuff. Wonderful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what's going on? Tomorrow night we continue the new Narwhal Hen Hunters, the first level brand new characters in Aimless. So we got some pictures of fights going on there, and once again, Build a Master Crafter, some custom stuff. Bunch of skeletons wandering aimlessly and singing groves, which is on the way to Newbriar, which is outside of the outside of Narwhal, and they're on patrol for the first time. Oh, there's an underground setting. Oh, look at that. Lots of skulls and stuff. So that's what's coming up tomorrow night. But then Friday night we have our first ever, and that's wrong. That Fantasy Mapping Show link is wrong. My bad. I hit the wrong thing. Hit the wrong thing again. Jeez, too many buttons. Call of Cthulhu live stream. Matt Ryan of Chaosium is game mastering this for the first time ever for Zach Glazer, Frog God, Anna, Alyssa Faden, and myself. There you go. A 3-hour session. Who knows what's going to happen, but it is Friday night at 8 o'clock. Okay? First time ever. We got 4 streams in 5 nights. So we got tonight, tomorrow night, Friday night, and then we go to Sunday. John Birchfield will be on, and we're just going to talk about homebrewing in a published setting. A lot of Altamira / when it goes into aired it stays in Greyhawk discussion because John's starting a whole new group up that starts right there, starting in the new aired Castles and Crusades game. So that'll be, and more than likely Chuck will be in, and we're trying to get Steven Chenault as well. I haven't verified that 100% yet. That's why it's not up. That is Wednesday. There'll be a bunch of Troller game giveaways that night too. What's coming up in the future? All right, our next game, and I just hit a click for it. The next adventure with 2 drink minimum. Adventure number 970, titled aptly "The New God." Okay, whatever that means. And Chuck is playing because Steven will. I asked Steven to play, but he's in England. So Chuck said, "Hey, I've never played with Ed. All right, Chuck, I'm going to let you play with Ed." So Ed, and he's going to play Crusader, a character, probably either Crusader, Tritherian, or Herones. He's going back and forth. We'll see. So the normal group: Ed, Tony, Winslow, Brill, Eric Boyd, Anna, and Eric Mengi in that group. So that'll be a fun one, and that'll be Saturday to September 10th. That's far enough out. And note, Greyhawk Con, the signups are going fantastic. I'm going to bring it up real quick. One sec here. Let me just, and we'll see where we are. But we got a ton of things sold out, but there's a lot of great content as well. So please, if you're interested, there's still plenty of events. And also, there's a lot. Joe is set to be in the Ask the Experts at the end here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Eric Mona's in. Joe's in. Malden's in. Eric Boyd's in. And Alan Growy will be late because he's DMing, but he'll be there. So we got a whole crew. But look at all. There's a lot of things sold out, but there's still a lot of great content still available. A lot of adventures. I heard Les lost 2 signups for one of his games, so there's a Les game. It may have already been filled. Les Reno's game. Alan Growy's game's filled up fast. Anna's was the first to sell out.
Yeah, I'm making maps, and I can tell you we'll be storming a fortress. That's what we were going to do that day. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, McTrunk again. Just got an order. Just ordered the Swords of Cthulhu book, Joe. There you go. Get some orders out of it. That's awesome. So note, there's still BK Tourney signups. There's some good content still. Here's the one I want to push everyone on. And Dickerus has no signups for either of his Zeef games yet, and I find that criminal. Because he's great. Family, no signups. Zeef, Living Greyhawk, Piety, no signups. That's criminal. Everyone, there's got to be some signups for his games. So just note they're fantastic games for Antiquous's games. So if you're able to give them a sign up, plenty of content still. All right, let's do the giveaways.
Oh, wait, I did forget one thing.
Sure.
This month, August, is the 10th anniversary of my company, BRW Games. So starting tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Starting tomorrow for the rest of the month, the 3 core rule books for Adventures Dark and Deep, which is my version of what first edition would have turned into if Gary Gygax had stayed with TSR. Those are going to be on sale for 50% off on drive-thru.
Wow, okay. Adventures Dark and Deep is the series.
Yes. The 3 core rule books as PDFs, they'll be on sale for half off for the rest of the month, starting tomorrow morning. So
nice. We'll get them filled, Rob. I know we'll get them all going. We still got well over a month out, so we got a lot of. But I'm really, really happy. Goblin of Gygaxanor, I own those in hardcover already. That is fantastic. Very, very cool. Let's call for signups here. Okay. And the winner, if you do not have the Greyhawk The Adventure Begins, it's a great reprint to have, and then 1 adventure. But if you already have it, you can choose from 2 adventures from this pile. And then tomorrow night's Infinite Dimensions games, some STLs, and I'll do 1 Reaper mini pack for those who don't have STLs, a 3D printer, and then we got a bunch of Troller Games giveaways. You know what? I should talk to Alyssa. Remind me, Anna. I got to talk to Alyssa and see if Chaosium will give us something for Friday.
Yeah, that will be
I got to do that.
Yep.
I got to do that. All right, closing this out. How about the pods, Greyhawk Garnered?
Those are those I can't put on a percent sale thing, so this is just for the PDFs.
There you go. Awesome to know. Tonight's winner is Mick Drunk Again, who just bought the book, so it's poetic that Mick Drunk Again won. You got more books coming. So, and I know I just sent some stuff to you recently, I think. So let me know what you want here. And hey, that's the way it works. Congrats. And we appreciate you doing that for Joe. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this discussion. Look at that. It's 10 o'clock on the nose. That's wonderful. Good timing. So, Joe, thank you so very much for coming on. This was a great discussion tonight.
Thanks for having me. I really have a ball every time I come.
And we'll see you definitely within a month, about a month for the what a great discussion. And Anna, thank you as always, and I'll see you in 2 nights.
Yeah. Friday.
We all die. We'll probably all die.
We'll see. Or go insane, or both. Yeah.
Yep. So note, we're gonna raid into I think Guild Superior tonight. I think we're gonna raid into Guild Superior.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I think so. Because I think they're running.
I need to start watching his show regularly now.
Yep. Death is Mercy and Castle. I listed Game Master for me at GaryCon. I didn't die, so I was like shocked. So, all right, that's what we're going to raid into. We're going to raid into Guild Superior. Everyone have a great night. Thank you all for the support. Reach out if you have any questions about Virtual GreyhawkCon. Here's the sign up for it. Registration and event signups are going on right now. You can still put in events too. There's still room for events. And everyone have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. See you all. Have a good one. Am I going to the wrong button here? I may. Hopefully not. Pleasure. Whew. Let's hit this. Raid into. And there, Guild Superior is running a game at Virtual GreyhawkCon.
Yep.
So, Sunday afternoon, which is sold out. All right, 570. Good, awesome. 78. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you tomorrow night. All right, make sure that went in.
Yes, it did. 77. Not bad.
Nice. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
That was awesome, Joe. Thanks a lot.
This was a lot of fun.